Today on the Bright Side podcast, we have a great episode for you about Pokemon Switch and some other announcements that have come out, but mainly about the Pokemon. Today joining me, I have Zach Brown and Nathan Davidson, both amazing individuals, both very big into Magic the Gathering and Pokemon. Now, we might see in the future some podcasts made by them about Magic the Gathering itself, so stay tuned for that. It's going to be exciting. I'm excited to see it and what they do with it. It's going to be a little bit more interactive and more thought-provoking. Guys, I'm loving doing these podcasts, and I hope you guys love listening to them. It has been such a joy. Now, let's get on with the podcast.
Can we do like Spanish Inquisition vampires too?
Nobody expects a Spanish Inquisition with vampires and dinosaurs. And the right.
I didn't expect it.
No.
I wouldn't have thought of it. So I guess.
But someone did.
Someone did.
And that person is a genius.
That's actually in the game.
Yeah.
Vampiric Spanish Inquisition.
Yes. Vampiric Spanish Inquisition. They're all about like the righteous things, like they go on blood fasts, and
It's actually a fun take on vampires.
it's really cool.
Self-righteous vampires. It's a thing now.
Huh. Guess being a vampire is pretty selfish.
Well, it depends on how you became a vampire.
Yeah. If it was the give and take method of becoming.
Yeah.
And not
It was
just
the
being.
here, let me give you HIV.
Yeah.
And by HIV, I mean, hi, I'm a vampire.
All right. So today we've got a interesting topic because today's been a week of announcements and leaks and just insanity.
And P90X.
And P90X.
Speak for yourself.
Insanity.
Oh,
And P90X.
insanity. Just this week, we've had Pokemon for Switch announced. 3 games. And actually, technically 5. But we'll get on that a little bit later. First thing, we've got Fallout 76.
I must have missed the other, 72 games? Because suddenly it was Fallout 4 and then 76, so...
Yeah.
I can't wait. I'm going to have a little bit of a backlog to get to 76.
I'm going to catch up. Where are these other ones?
Exactly.
They're going to put on Steam
I missed them. I missed them somewhere.
Well,
Same with like 60 Nintendos.
Yeah, true. True that too.
then we've also got a leak for Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Every single Assassin's Creed game is leaked before it launches. I think it's on purpose.
When you have a system...
Yeah. Well, you get free publicity, I guess.
Like how you don't wash your socks before a big game. It's a system. It works for some people.
I guess.
I've known some people. My life's been rough.
So, I guess we should just go straight into the big topic today. Pokemon.
Pokemon.
So, it was announced. First off, they started with Pokemon Quest, which is a Minecraft style, graphics, art style Pokemon game where it plays like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. Well, more in the fact that you play as the Pokemon.
My wife has actually started to play it a bit.
Oh, yeah? It is out today.
It's oddly more like a tower defense than anything else.
Really?
Yeah, so you have certain Pokemon that you can have on your team. You can buff them up using certain items. They have a leveling system. But they control themselves. They go wherever they want to. It's waves. So they'll go over to one area, fight a wave of Pokemon. You can you can choose separate moves, but they're on a cooldown, 3 seconds each. So you can spam Gust and Tackle and other things like that for your 3 separate Pokemon. And then they just go to the next wave. And the next wave is a boss wave.
So really you're just telling them to attack.
Yep.
Okay.
And so, I mean, it has a little bit of the strategy element to it, because if you hit Tackle and your Eevee is far away from a Caterpie, your Tackle's not going to hit because the Eevee's going to automatically tackle.
Yeah.
But, yeah. That's how it is.
Interesting. Huh. Well, that's out today. They launched it as they announced it. You can get it on Switch or any mobile device. Then they moved on to the big 2 titles, which have been leaked like crazy and confirmed. Every single leak was right, even the outrageous ones. Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu.
All right, really quickly, let's go around and say whether you'd pick Pikachu or Eevee. Jameson?
I'm leaning towards Pikachu, but I always love Eevee.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll explain my choice after you guys.
I would have to go Eevee just for the sole purpose that it's my wife's very favorite Pokemon, and I don't think she'd let us get anything else.
I also would have to be Eevee. Like, don't get me wrong, Pikachu is wonderful, but I feel like he's also overused a little bit.
Overrepresented.
Exactly, overrepresented. That's a good way to.
I don't want to play a game as Ash for once.
Yeah, right. There we go. There we go.
Well, here's the big thing, actually. My reasoning is they announced that the starter Pokemon that you have, the Pikachu or the Eevee, cannot evolve.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really? Because that's one of the reasons that I choose Eevee is just because of the versatility.
That's exactly my thought. I was like, I would definitely choose the Eevee because then I could have the choice of what to evolve it to. But then I hear that it can't evolve. I'm just like, well, I can just get the Pikachu, keep the Pikachu, and then catch an Eevee later.
Depending on if you can actually catch an Eevee or Pikachu.
Because
if you go back to like Red, Blue, and Yellow, finding a Pikachu...
Which this is a remake of.
Finding a Pikachu was nigh impossible, and same with finding an Eevee, there was only one.
Yes, but you can say that, but also take in consideration all the things that they've done to the series since then, and they'll probably have eggs and hatching.
They do not have eggs. It's
Really?
been confirmed that Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu does not have eggs.
Interesting.
That must be the Pokemon Go thing.
Mhm.
Pokemon Go must be for that. All right, let's get through the list, shall we?
Then we'll start speculating.
So I've got a bunch of questions for you guys. I'm sure you've read them before, but I'm just going to state it here. These were the questions that came to my mind as I watched the press conference. And we'll just discuss this and get your guys' thoughts on it. So my first question, I noticed that the battle system was very unclear on certain parts. The trainer battles, it showed trainer battles, but there weren't any random encounter battles. There weren't the Pokemon battle. It was just the Pokemon Go throwing the Pokeball and catching. How does that affect evolving and leveling up your Pokemon then?
So this is one of the big reasons that I am extremely skeptical about this game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really not that excited about it because I feel like the Pokemon Go throwing a Pokeball system takes away what makes Pokemon Pokemon.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, let me take a little more research into this. Let me look at the battles. Okay, the trainer battles, yes, there's actual battles. Hooray! And then I paused. I went frame by frame through like the trainer, not the trainer battles, but the wild, the catching battles. And I was like, oh yes, there's a menu. Maybe there's something on the menu that says attack. And no.
It was just get ready.
It's just get ready. And what does get ready mean? It's like, I got a Pokeball in hand now.
Yeah, there's get ready items and run away or something like that. Yeah.
And so I'm worried that there's not really going to be much of a leveling system. You might have some sort of, you can have a move here or a move there, depending on how long you've had this Pokemon in your team. And we might have we can hit this button once you've had it long enough and it'll evolve. It takes away what makes Pokemon Pokemon to me.
Yeah.
So, what do you think, Nate?
Again, interesting. I'd be really sad, like you said, because I absolutely love catching the weakest Pokemon I can and leveling it all the way to 99 and 100. That's my favorite thing. So yeah, I'd be really sad and disappointed if they didn't have that as well. As we've seen in other Pokemon games, there's other ways of leveling. But just kind of throwing the Pokeballs is fun in its own way, but it does feel very mobile-ish.
Mm-hmm. Here, let me shove this candy down your throat to level you.
Exactly. Which is not the message I want to be sending to kids. Want to be stronger? Have some candy.
But make sure you found it somewhere on the road.
Lots of good messages in Pokemon Kids.
Yeah. Well, there were actually a lot of interviews with developers afterwards, but a lot was lost in translation. Like those certain people interviewing the companies that went there, flew there to see it, they either didn't translate well or they didn't hear it right because there are so many mixed and crossed messages from everybody who interviewed and got the same answer. They got different interpretations of it. And one of them, which seemed a little bit more common across the board, was catching Pokemon with that style provides experience points for your Pokemon like you would be battling them. So I don't know if they might implement a battle system in the catching or if it's just going to be, whatever Pokemon you have as your companion Pokemon will receive the experience. I don't know.
Guess we'll have to wait and see.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We'll find out more at E3, hopefully.
Will we?
Will we, though?
Will we?
Before November 16th, though.
Yeah,
I
before
can
November
guarantee
16th. Apparently, in one of the interviews, they heard, or in their translation, that the boxes are changing, the computer boxes. You'll still have them, but they give you a box in your backpack.
That'd be nice.
So carrying around 30 Pokemon in your backpack and then 6 Pokemon on your belt.
So laptops are finally a thing now in the Pokemon.
Wireless, yes. Finally got that 4G coverage. Transfer Pokemon over 4G.
There were a couple laptops I've seen in the Poke Centers because you could access it from a laptop terminal.
Yeah.
Pokemon in the cloud, I guess.
Yeah, a cloud Pokemon.
Not that cloud.
Oh.
Or is
Okay.
it Zach? I'm not sure.
No.
He's got a little bit of a confusion going on. Not the move confusion, mind you.
So many puns.
Okay. So they announced that the Alolan forms are coming to Pokemon Go.
Yay!
And
I wasn't a fan of this until I saw them. They look pretty sweet.
Yeah,
they're pretty
like
good.
He-Man Doug Trio.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Have you seen the
I haven't seen that one.
Oh,
I'm
He-Man
gonna
Doug
have to
He
look it
Trio
hasn't
up.
is
played the
so
Sun
good.
and Moon game, so
No,
he
I
doesn't.
haven't. So.
Yeah, they've got amazing blonde hair.
Oh wow.
They-
Okay.
Yeah, they look like they could be singing the hey yeah.
And you can't forget Bearded Golem.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Yeah, he was just surprised when he saw the Executor,
Mm.
and it was a dragon type.
Well, let me tell the story of how I found out about the announcement. Because they announced that it was going to be like on the next day. They said, hey, tomorrow we're going to have an announcement for our new games. And I was just like, sweet. And I looked at Pokemon Go because I played that, and it had an update. It's like, okay, update. And opened it up, and suddenly Executors everywhere as a promotion for it. They had Executors. The Alolan form of Executor spawn everywhere, but it looked honestly like the last march of the Ents. Tall trees waving in the breeze everywhere as far as the eye could see.
Every time you get on it now, it's just you have at least 3 or 4 on your screen at once, and they take up every part of your screen.
Can't throw a Pokeball without hitting one.
And they
They
jump.
barge into other battles.
Like when you're throwing Pokeballs at them, they jump.
Oh, and it's hilarious though because because of the tall things, you can't see the heads.
Oh no.
Exactly. So you just see the body and the head going up. Except when they do the counterattack, then they suddenly lean all the way
So
over
their heads in your face.
course.
right in your face. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. Well played. Well played.
I always feel bad for the one that's attached to the tail.
Yeah.
It's just like, so how's the weather up there? Stop saying that.
So much dirt in my face.
Can't see where I'm going, just can see where I've been.
And I see what I've eaten. Hey, Pokepuff.
Oh, that was good. Anyways, so they announced that the Alolan Exeggutor was going to be in Pokemon Go, and it was going to be available through the transferring feature into Pokemon Let's Go. So, does that mean the other Alolan forms that will be introduced into Pokemon Go will enter into this game? Does it mean that more than the first generation are already programmed to be in the game?
Because they specifically said it's just the Kanto region, right?
Yeah, well,
Yes.
they didn't say it's just. They said generally it will launch only with the Kanto region.
Uh-huh. Gotcha.
So their wording was very specific. In general, it's only the Kanto region. It doesn't mean that it can't eventually become
It can't
more.
be something more.
So does this mean that the game will get more updates, that the updates that Go will receive when it gets more regions? Because they're already up to the, Hoenn region now?
Something like that, yeah.
Johto and Hoenn. And will we get DLC content later on that's either paid or free? Take either or. I mean, if you could buy each region and extend your game a whole nother game, like, I think that'd be cool. But then they'd be missing out on the whole market of remaking every game in their series.
Yeah, and well, I think the thing is with this game, from what I've been understanding with the Let's Go game, is it's not meant to be a core RPG. It's not meant to be the, hey, this is another Pokemon Gold or a Pokemon Diamond or Pearl, whatever of the ones that have come out, Sun or Moon, which are the newest ones.
But because they've announced that they're coming out with the big one next year,
Next
right?
year,
And
yes.
the sequel to Sun and Moon.
I'm really feeling like this is going to be just Kanto, just the one that'll get the Pokemon fans say, oh, we've got Pokemon for Switch,
Finally.
until we can get the core RPG.
Later in one of my questions, they stated, like, when I was listening through, I make sure I hear everything so I can get my questions right. They stated that this is a core series game. But then they also said, we will be launching the core series game next year that is in the style of X and Y or Sun and Moon.
Mm-hmm.
So they're considering both of them core series games. Does that mean we have two separate series, core games now? Will this be the first of this new generation of games, and then they'll just keep going with the other ones?
They definitely could. It'd be an interesting direction to see. What I think more with core game is more of a, this is not the Pokemon Quest that came out,
Yeah.
or the Pokemon, that puzzle one that came out a couple years ago. So it's more in the style of the core games. It's on a core system.
Yeah.
And exclusive to that system. I don't know. Maybe because that's just my thoughts.
Honestly, it feels more like kind of a love letter to the original Game Boy games.
Yeah.
With a lot of, hey, it'd be cool if thrown in as well.
Yeah.
Kind of seeing like how far can we push this? It ties into a mobile game.
You have rocket boots.
Whatever, yeah, whichever.
It does feel like this is the game where they threw in what everybody's been asking for in a main title game. People have been wanting companion Pokemons to come back. They've been wanting the ride Pokemon to include more, be more like the HMs than just the ride share or whatever Pokemon in Sun and Moon. And then they also wanted it to be in the Kanto region again. And
Yay, nostalgia!
and
Sorry.
and
I
a
was
lot
overcome
of
affection.
nostalgia. But it does seem like this is like, okay, here's everything everybody's been asking us to do for a game.
Let's just shove it in a little
let's
game here.
Put it in a game for them, and then let's keep doing our stuff that we come up with on this
Yep.
one over here.
I mean, how many times have we visited the Kanto region in the games? So red, blue, and yellow.
Uh-huh.
We have gold and silver.
Technically green as well, but
Yeah, but
That's
not U.S.
Yeah.
hey, there's a port.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Gold and silver.
Gold and Soul Silver as well.
Heart gold and soul silver. Fire red and leaf green.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we need more Kanto?
Hush you.
I don't know. For me, it's like some people will argue with me that, you know, a lot of people are like purists with the Pokemon. They're like 151 original. Anytime that it's just that, I'll get the game, you know, because I just want the pure. That's what I had at the start, and I can get that because when the seasons changed and they added more Pokemon, I got lost as a kid. I was only familiar with the original 151, and then I left the series, but I ended up coming back, and I loved the amount of Pokemon they had added, and the different varieties, and not just that, but like where they were located.
Mm-hmm.
I actually enjoyed that, and now it kind of bugs me when I see a game come out that doesn't have everything that the universe has created for it. And so it's just seeing it, if it's just the 151 for the entire lifespan of this game, then it's not going to be any different than me going back playing the original Pokemon Yellow or the remake or playing Pokemon Go for the first little while. You know, it's like eventually I want to move on and see, especially since there have been evolutions added to these Pokemon or previous evolutions added to these Pokemon.
It's like, let's take the Harry Potter series
Mm-hmm.
and only give you book 1 again.
Yeah.
And only ever book 1 again. You're not going to get all the rest of them. Sorry, you Harry Potter nerds out there that like all of them. It's just going to be book 1 again.
Yeah, there's no snakes in the pipes on this one, guys.
No. There are no pipes. I mean, the bathrooms work magically.
See, I fall into the first camp there. Like I'm a whole traditional Kanto region 151. That's it. I was the Pokemon master. You can't take that from me. How dare you add more to that and whatnot?
There have just been so many Pokemon that have come in that I've fallen in love with.
Mm-hmm.
That some of them I actually hold in higher regard than most of the first generation Pokemon.
Looking at you, Tangela. I hold most Pokemon in higher regards than Tangela. I hold Tangrowth in higher regards than Tangela.
I mean, if Venonat was supposed to be the ninja Pokemon of the first generation.
Well, it was placed in the gym.
Yeah.
I was like, this is the ninja gym, and there's a Venomoth. Ooh, so ninja. It's a moth.
Since then, we got Froakie and his evolutions, and
He's less ninja than Venonat. 151 or nothing.
I feel like you're mocking me there.
You feel like you're mocking? I'm mocking you. You should be. I'm blatantly mocking you.
before we get at each other's throats here, I guess.
My Venonat ninja is going to stab you in the back for that.
It's okay. I'm a ground type.
I personally am hoping for DLC with other regions, because this game looks like it's pretty much one-for-one Kanto map style, placing and everything. How hard would it be for them to make the next region and just give it the graphic shades and whatnot, you know?
Well, literally every region in Pokemon, you have your art style. You just add a map.
Mm-hmm.
Everything looks exactly the same. You just gotta place it.
And all the animations that you look at in this game are either borrowed from Pokemon Go, or they were in the files of Pokemon Sun and Moon. Because when people opened up the files of that game, they noticed that every single Pokemon had a running animation, as if they were companion Pokemons falling behind. And it had animations for Pokemon who weren't even featured in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And so every single Pokemon was there with all the animations that are being used in this game. So they had these files, and they just put them over and put a new graphic skin on it, which they found in the files as well. Each character model had a 4K design. There's actually a fan version, a mod that you can get on PC that ups the graphics of Sun and Moon to 4K. And it looks very similar to Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee.
That's funny.
So, makes you wonder how much work they put into this.
Hey, if you do your groundwork, hey, there you go.
Co-op play. So they introduced the second Joy-Con. You can play with just one Joy-Con in this game, which Pokemon games, you just need a joystick and a button. So you take a second controller, give it to a friend, he shakes it, and a character drops in. Well, they state that it's a support character that appears. Do they use main players, secondary Pokemon in battles? could you import your own character and Pokemon for the co-op experience?
I think that'd be cooler, but it'd take a lot more work for them to be able to keep that all straight.
I don't think you could actually bring your character over because, I mean, it's the way they're showing it is using the Joy-Con that is paired to the system already.
Yeah.
And so it'd be using that system's memory. It's as far as I'm aware, the Joy-Con don't have a feature like an Amiibo where they can store save data in it.
Mm-hmm.
So it would just be a shake, and you're there.
But here's the thing. The Pokemon Ball Plus does have a feature where you download Pokemon into it.
True.
So if you were to use that as the second Joy-Con and join in using that, could you then use the Pokemon that's downloaded into it as your Pokemon?
Potentially. Because I watching the announcement trailer, it was sort of odd to see that feature. Like, oh, I can bring Pikachu with me. Yay! Pikachu! Wiggle back and forth to hear you. What else does it do? It's because it sort of harkens back to the day of Heart Gold and Soul Silver, where it came with that pedometer in it.
Mm-hmm.
And you could upload a Pokemon to the pedometer and walk around with it, and it would gain experience points. And then you could bring it back to the game.
Yeah.
But they didn't really tell us anything except for if you wiggle it, it makes noise.
And
I thought it was the beautiful, beautiful mix of harking back to the Tamagotchi era. So here you have, you're able to carry around your Pokemon and whatnot with that.
yeah.
Let's bring the 90s back.
Exactly. That's all this is.
That's what they're just updating the 90s.
Yep.
Bringing it to the future.
Oh, Red and Blue was 92, was it?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
So, yep. Let's bring the 90s back.
26 years later. So, yeah, that was just my thought. Like, with the Pokeball Plus, you could load it in, and it's supposed to work with both Pokemon Go and Let's Go. So, there's going to be some sort of transferable feature with the Pokeball Plus, having the Pokemon in the Pokeball. And I wonder if they'll, like, if they stated or if they're, that was one of the things that was a bit confusing, whether or not they actually used the HD Rumble feature in the Pokeball Plus that they have in the Joy-Cons. Because that makes it, you can feel as, like, there's a game in 1-2 Switch.
Yes.
Where you're supposed to guess how many marbles are in the Joy-Con. And you can actually feel them rolling around and hitting each other. Like, it's that detailed of a rumble. If that was in the Pokeball, they could make it feel like, make it rock back and forth in your pocket as if the Pokemon's in there hitting the sides and things like that. Like, how detailed are they pushing this thing? And then that makes it, what's the price for this thing?
$150 for a Pokeball? Heck yes.
I mean, it's a simplified Joy-Con, whereas the
You
buttons
can't
go...
play it with any other game.
Yes.
You just can do it with this one Pokemon game.
One button and a joystick and motion controls.
So we're going back to Atari.
Would
One red button and a joystick.
Yes. Now if they just added motion controls with that
Oh,
control.
yeah.
I think the pricing will have to be similar to the Joy-Con, if not less than, because if it had the HD Rumble, that's part of the Joy-Con, but it has less buttons, which means less mechanics for the card on it. It would have to be between $30 and $40. If it was $20, I'd be excited. That'd be awesome if it was $20.
I'd buy 20.
Would you stop at 6? That's my question.
Yes. I would keep 6 because I could have my whole team with me when I go out Pokemon going. I'd feel like a kid again. That's exactly what I'd want. Because when I was a kid, I got those Pokeballs with the little figurines in them.
Oh, yep.
And I put them on my belt and walked around like I was a Pokemon master.
I got the ones from Burger King that had the gold card inside.
Ah,
Ooh.
yes.
Yeah.
Those were the days.
I remember going to Pokemon, the first movie, and getting the
The-
holographic
The
Mewtwo.
Mew that's like all hieroglyphics.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I got that one. Then I went to another Pokemon movie and got a Yu-Gi-Oh card as a promo.
Some cross merchandising there.
Yeah, it was a little odd. It was a great Yu-Gi-Oh card, but I never played.
Were they from the same company? I think they were from the same publishing house.
I don't know.
Because Digimon was in a
Was Bandai.
Bandai,
Mhm.
whereas they were Funimation.
You hear they're doing a
Or
Digimon
for
Gundam
kids.
crossover, right, with Bandai? No, they're not.
Shaking his head as he says it.
Yeah, you can pilot War Greymon.
Yes! Every childhood fantasy right there.
Anyways, we're talking about Pokemon.
Pokemon.
Pokemon. Can't go on to Digimon and Yu-Gi-Oh here. I mean, those things haven't updated themselves in years. That anybody's really
Have you
cared
been
to-
watching Pokemon Adventure Try? Sorry,
Digimon?
Sorry,
Whoa.
Digimon Adventure Try. Sorry. There we go.
No. I
There's another
stopped.
crossover for you.
Yeah.
I stopped at the first season of Digimon.
Yep.
Good choice. Good choice, sir.
Yep. When they started fusing with their Digimon, I was a little
Don't go there.
lost.
Yeah, don't. Our powers combined. Because
I'm-
you're a powerful and I'm a human.
I'm a human.
So we kind of already gone over this one, that this is another core series game, but then there's also the next one coming out, the Generation 8 game coming out next year. Does that bode well for the size of this game?
What do you mean by that? Expound on that a little bit.
So
It will take 2 gigs of storage data on
if
yours.
this is just a remake reboot and it's just the Kanto region, what's the replayability other than it leaning on Pokemon Go? If this is just to tide people over until next year when they can have the next Pokemon game, the next generation.
See, and I would agree with you that, yeah, that is a problem. Except here we are doing a podcast and talking about all our fond memories of Pokemon Yellow and Red and Blue and whatnot. So evidently that hasn't stopped it.
True.
If history is any indicator, it should be all right.
But
Yeah.
for me, yeah, I do have the fond memories of Yellow, Red, and Blue. How many times have I played it? Once. Ever. It doesn't... Okay, I'm going to make a lot of people mad. Red and Blue do not have the replayability as a Sun and Moon. Just for the sheer fact of it has only so much you can do. It was running on an ancient system. It had so much less Pokemon, a lot less of the strategy that goes into it. Fantastic games, don't get me wrong. Great games that changed a whole genre, influenced hundreds and thousands of people. But they just don't hold up.
My reply to that will also be, yes, it is nostalgia and it makes you relive it, and we're sitting here talking about it, but they do it almost every year.
Mm-hmm.
How many, like, they've remade Pokemon Yellow already. They've also re-released it for the 3DS, allowing you to play it and transfer your Pokemon from it to the other games. And then in Pokemon Sun and Moon, they reintroduced the original Kanto Pokemon with new forms. And now we're getting Pokemon Yellow again with a better graphic style. And so it's like, it's awesome and it's nostalgia, but I felt the same thing last year when Pokemon Go came out. It was like, oh, the original 151, it's going to be living Pokemon Yellow.
And I played that for a month.
Yeah.
There are some people that have played it a long time and still keep playing it, which is awesome and good for them, but I couldn't.
My old phone was crap and I just couldn't play it. Till I got a new phone, then I started playing it a lot.
Nostalgia can only get you so far.
And that's why they started adding other regions.
So evidently what you're saying is nostalgia can only carry you for about a year.
Until you have to do
Until,
it again.
until they release a new game.
Yep.
And then
So
the,
it looks
and the
like-
fans will back it up.
So it looks like to me that they're doing okay. They're doing the exact same thing they've done for the last, 20 years? And it looks like they're doing great.
it works.
So there you go.
works.
So to answer your question, sir, a year. That's what it'll do.
That's
It's
how long
one-
you can play it, is 1 year.
It's
To
1
the
year.
day.
And they already have that planned out for the next one.
Yeah. Yep.
When they re-release Pokemon Red and Blue on the Switch. because you know that's going to happen.
Well, they're doing classic games with their online service. That's just Nintendo in a nutshell with their old classic game services. Every single console, you buy the same old games to play again and again and again because you want them on your current console.
Yes, you do.
So, well, yeah. It works. You got me there.
Was that a Pikachu I just heard outside?
Pika.
Because I'm pretty sure I just heard Pika. Did that not sound like a Pikachu?
So, I noticed in the trailer for the game that the transferring of Pokemon from Pokemon Go to Pokemon Let's Go, it sent the Pokemon
To
a
a
park. So now this is the question. It doesn't seem like the Pokemon you send will join your party.
Yep, it looks like you can't play with them.
You just go and you meet them and you can do probably the Pokemon petting thing. And here's something I was talking to my wife last night about. I was sitting there thinking, well, what if they used Pokemon Go, you capture the Pokemon, transfer it to your game, and they reinserted a Pokemon Safari Zone. And
where
the
you could go
Pokemon-
and catch and release?
The Pokemon you caught in Pokemon Go are in the Safari Zone for you to catch for your game.
So you import them.
You import them into your game, and they'll be in that park for you to go and catch. And then my wife turned to me and said, well, then shouldn't Pokemon Go just be the Safari Zone?
Holy cow. You feed them berries, you throw that's all you can do. It's the Safari Zone. The entire world is the Safari Zone.
Except you can't throw rocks.
Yes, that's
Oh.
true.
I want to throw rocks. So, yeah, that's a good point. But if it's the Safari Zone has always been a catch and release scenario.
Mm-hmm.
You go in, you catch all your Pokemon in the Safari Zone, so you can upload them to your Pokédex. That's how you can get a Kangaskhan in your Pokédex.
Yeah.
And then you leave without the Pokemon.
Yeah.
Another thing is if they're doing the park, if they're putting the things in the park, I did this event the other day where I caught a Moltres. If I upload that Moltres and have it in my game, and I just started that game, that's game breaking.
It is very game breaking.
It makes the game not fun. In my opinion, I like to do the level 1 and getting it back up to level 100 as well.
So I agree. I think that's a good way to have the cross compatibility, but not break the balance of the game, like you were saying.
Yeah, and the other way around, where you transfer Pokemon from Let's Go to Go, I feel like that would be more of a scenario where it'd be a little bit more balanced to give that, because that's physically going out. That's making you go out and be active, doing things. If it allowed your Pokemon that you took with you to gain experience, just like the pedometer.
Yep.
In those old games, like it's something you'd have to work to achieve. So I could see it working that way, where you could take your Pokemon, transfer it to Pokemon Go, make it your companion to walk with you, and then bring it back so it gains experience.
Yeah. Let's hope you can bring it back.
Yes. That also brought up the point that, the leveling, if this is tied to Pokemon Go, are we going to have traditional leveling with Pokemon, or is it going to be the combat power?
Yeah, my Pokemon's level 3,000. The thing that I have a theory on that.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at the trainer battles all throughout Pokemon history have had level blank next to it.
Mm-hmm.
The trainer battles that it showcases during the trailer do not. They don't have that level spot, which makes me think that leveling will not be a thing.
So that would then make trainer battles more of that'd make it more Dark Souls-esque. Like, not in the fact that
Dodge.
Like, it's more in the fact that you have to build up to be able to defeat each trainer. But then how do you build up if you're not battling Pokemon?
And, well, what does that do to someone who has a Pidgey or a Rattata? They're obsolete. It only makes certain Pokemon worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Just pure stats.
I have a feeling that in that trailer, because if you look at some of the footage, there's one where a kid gets home and he starts playing it on his TV. It looks like a monitor. You can see that he's got the command profile, like the underbar for with the designers, and it's like, okay, so it's not finalized in this trailer. The graphics aren't all there. This isn't like, it even states that this gameplay is not the final version. So there may be levels implemented. There may be Pokemon battles put in. Maybe they'll just make it so you battle the Pokemon till it's weak, then go into the Pokeball throwing feature. They haven't stated, at least so far that I know, that this isn't, that what the trailer was is exactly what's all going to be in there.
I don't know. I'm very cautiously optimistic. Very cautious.
I'm excited for the games. They're going to be tons of fun. And especially the Pokeball Plus. My childhood is not, like, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, that's a gimmick. And then the more I watched it,
It's a pretty good gimmick.
it's a really good gimmick. And I was just like, for some reason I want that.
Pet Rock, Pokeball Plus.
It's more interactive.
I can throw a rock.
But does it talk to you?
Hey, Rock, how you doing?
Now, also,
Geodude.
There's a question. So the Pokeball Plus, you can take it along. It'll say the Pokemon. They'll do their noises.
Mm-hmm.
Will it be Pikachu and Eevee? And will it be I am the tormented souls of the damned?
Yeah, that's a good question. Is how detailed will it be? Yeah.
Are all the sounds programmed into this ball?
Mm-hmm. Oh, how many different Pokemon? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's an excellent question.
How would you identify it?
Which one are you? Scyther?
Something insect, possibly grass. What about this one over here?
It's glowing green. It's got this weird sound. Which grass type Pokemon do I have in there?
Will they bring in like the original voice actors for the anime? Bound, bound, bound.
Scyther!
No.
If we're gonna make this thing authentic, you're right. We need to, don't we?
Mm-hmm. We have to. I'd buy it. I would. All qualms about this game are gone. I'm doing it.
So I think that what we've decided is the biggest selling point about this is that little Pokeball.
Yep.
There we go. All right.
And
Oh, my son.
they
Charmander!
they did state after the conference to one of the interviews that the Pokeball will be used for future titles.
Oh, good.
So it will carry on and be useful in something other than this game.
So we will get the tormented souls of the damned.
So the next thing I want now is it to be backwards compatible.
Ooh.
I don't know. Maybe that's too much to ask for, but it'd be cool.
I want you to update my Game Boy Color version of Gold so
Exactly.
I can put my Cyndaquil from that game.
Precisely.
Make it work. It's got a link cable.
Did you guys notice that it has the belt clip
Yeah.
in the trailer? It shows them having the belt clip.
Now, does it have the shrinking capacity?
Ooh. Excellent question.
I mean, we have to have authenticity. It's got to shrink down to be the size of a marble and then grow back up to the size of my palm.
If you look at it, that thing's are small enough already. Like, it looks like the size of what the small ball would have been.
You just lost me again. I'm not buying this game.
So fickle.
All right, trainers, get out there and
Throw balls at things.
throw balls at things.
Or rocks.
Or rocks. Or berries.
Or berries.
Berries.
Preferably
Throw
berries.
Raspberries. Delicious.
Not durian. Don't throw durian at them.
Don't touch durian. Never touch durian. That's the foulest thing ever.
Don't go near durian.
Honestly.
Anyways, yeah. We'll just guess that wraps it up.
Goodbye.
Bye.